Good afternoon, ladies and gents. Welcome back to the channel. This is Baylor Tron, and we are heading from Fort William on the A82 to the Green Welly, which I'm pretty sure most of you know what this place is. It's very popular with bikers. Now, I do have a confession to make. This is done on a voiceover. Reason being because I was extremely tired after the long day I've already had. I could not get my words out, couldn't think straight, but it was still an epic ride. Now, the reason I was so tired is because this idiot who's speaking to you on a voiceover because he was so tired thought he had a bike issue. I managed to cover 570 mile in one day, which includes the last 3 episodes you lot have watched. Now, you'd think after 570 mile that you'd realise there's nothing wrong, but no, not me. Of course not. That is not the way I work. So after blasting all the way home and getting back at 2 o'clock in the morning, starting from Inverness to Applecross, Applecross to Fort William, Fort William to Glasgow, Glasgow to Moffat, Moffat to Preston, Preston all the way to Stafford. I finally felt safe. Now, I don't want this to go on as a big rant because that's not what it is. I do want to tell you the story of what actually happened. Anyway, when I got back home, I called the bike shop because the beautiful MT-09 Tracer is still under warranty. So, they have to fix it, thank God. But it turns out there wasn't anything to fix. So I rolled up at CMC Motorcycles in Cannock, which is my local bike shop. Also, this is where I brought the Tracer 900. And they began work on my so-called monstrosity. After about half an hour of sitting around drinking coffee as you normally would in a bike shop, admiring other bikes that you really wish you could afford, he turned back up outside from the back, from where obviously he does all the motorcycle magicalness, waving a piece of paper in the air saying, "Mr. Baylor Tron, there is nothing wrong with your motorcycle." I in turn turned and said, "What do you mean there's nothing wrong with my motorcycle? I had a juttery moment, or wherever I was, in the highlands of Scotland, which made me crash all the way back home because I got stressed out about it." And this is where I realised I still live in the past. Now, there's this little thing called traction control, and ABS, and anti-wheelie, and all this malarkey, said the CMC motorcycle mechanic. Now, if you look at this chart what I've printed off, it tells me that you have had a little issue because of the traction control system. What it was is basically you accelerated, the bike did not like it, so it juddered, basically the engine cutting out, doing all the traction control malarkey. I'm not very 100% sure on all that sort of stuff, but that happened anyway, and then you took it as a problem, which it wasn't a problem. It was basically just the bike stopping the rear end from spinning out, he says. And in return, I say, if I knew that, I'd still be in Scotland. But more fool me. Never mind, lesson learnt.
This is Miss Baylor Tron. He's a complete idiot who doesn't even know what traction control feels like. Maybe next time he'll learn in future and give me a few more days peace and quiet.
You would be lost without me, and you know it. Anyway, that's the first time you've heard Mrs. Baylor Tron, and you will hear from her again. You may even see her on the videos, but she's a little bit shy. Hopefully she'll be coming on tours soon, which will be absolutely epic. like to thank absolutely everybody for supporting me on this trip so far. The support has been absolutely immense. I don't have an absolute load of subscribers, but the few I do have supported me down to the last minute. I'll thank you all very, very much for that, especially Bazza B 1971, Richo 7003, also Bluey 1450, and you can't forget Bike Geist or Mick Boswell. If I haven't mentioned your name, I do apologise, but these are the ones that's constantly replying or sending messages, liking, all that sort of stuff. It goes a really, really long way. It really does. Especially when you put your own money and effort and time. I know it's a hobby and people see it as a hobby, but when you're recording it, it doesn't exactly be a hobby. It's more like a profession, which I absolutely love anyway. I love editing, I love filming, I love riding. Anything to do with this sort of stuff is a hobby to me, but also it costs a lot of money. So the support goes a very long way. If you haven't already, please like, subscribe, and do all the malarkey stuff what YouTube wants you to do. Get the algorithm running, all the rest of it. Until next time, guys, this has been Baylor Tron, and I'll speak to you all very soon.